Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another episode of the Habibis, three game developers drinking good Arab tea. I'm your host for this week, Osama Dorius,
And I am Fauzi Mesmar.
and it feels like I'm on the wrong podcast.
Uh,
We
listen,
kind of nailed the intro. What's going on?
yeah.
It's-
We're getting so much better at it that I think it's about time we start charging. How about $8 per episode?
That's too much. How about just $8 per month?
How about $8? How about $8 lifetime? No, 8 cents.
We'll call it Habibis Blue. How does that sound?
Habibis, every time you listen to the episode, you can print a sticker and have it for yourself.
I love it. Hey, we can make it like Game Pass, right? So like
Yeah.
you pay one fee and you get access to all our episodes.
That are also available for free. How about that business model?
We're not really good at the business part, are we? I missed you, Posey. How are you doing?
I miss you too, Osama. I've been like, it's been. I don't know if it's fun going on Twitter nowadays or
Yeah.
it's just. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like it's watching a train wreck in slow motion, like
Yeah.
real slow motion, one tweet at a time. It's kind of
Yeah.
wild.
It's like being on the Titanic while it's sinking. But like the people who are enjoying it, it's like you're the musicians on the Titanic playing your last song while it's sinking. It is
Yeah.
sad. Yeah, what can you do about it? Not much.
Yeah.
I mean, have you looked into some of the alternatives to Twitter?
I tried the other one. What's it called?
Mastodon.
Mastodon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I tried it too, and it's like I'm following an instruction guide to how to set it up, and I can't wrap my mind around how it actually works. And
Yeah.
people are asking me how to add me, and I'm like, I don't know. You can't just search up people, or if you can, I don't know how to do it. It seems like it's just
very
hard mode.
complicated. Like
Yeah.
for something that's supposed to copy Twitter, it's not copying Twitter.
It's not. Someone described it to me as the Linux of social media platforms, and I think that's really accurate. Like it does all the things, but you really just have to learn how it works, and it works in ways that no other operating system works.
It's totally that.
Platform. Yeah.
It's like PC gaming before Steam, in which
Yes.
like you have to do all the work yourself.
You have
and
to
then
free up the cache and the DOS and like make sure you have enough ROM and all this other stuff. Like I don't remember. I used to like I play some old sometimes. I play some old DOS games on DOSBox, and I have to look up
Yeah.
a guide for things I used to have to do all the time because it's just so many steps to doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's fine. That was the beginning of the platform, right?
I remember there was a time in which like I needed to when I download the game, I need to look up what DirectX version it needed
Yeah.
for me to run it. And there were versions of it that were not exactly backward compatible, so you needed to uninstall DirectX 8
Yes.
and then reinstall DirectX 6 or something like that.
Yeah, and depending on your video card, you might not have DirectX, you might have OpenGL, and then you needed to download a wrapper so that you can play with your actual video card. Like each
Very
game
true.
you got was like an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this going to work?
You know, like it used to be like the idea that console what you plug and play, and PC is you plug and pray,
And
hope that everything works.
It was like that with hardware too. It wasn't just software. I remember like you had to jump through hoops. This at the beginning of the internet. If you bought a mouse and you plugged it in, sometimes it would need a firmware update, and it would just like work badly or not work at all. Mice mostly worked, but like printers were just difficult to get up and running because if you had a mismatch of your operating system, if yours was too old for the new printer that you just got, that's it. You're screwed. You have to find a way to get the drivers off the internet and install them. And it wasn't that it wasn't that easy to find. It's not as easy as just which one do I need. You have to look through all these other configurations and things. Now you just plug it in, and the minimum drivers are already like included in, and it just installs itself. But it took a long time to get there.
Yeah, true, right? And it is kind of like that now with Master Dome or whatever it's called. It like the
Master Dome. I'm like, what?
Master Dome.
I love it.
Also a terrible name for a platform.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's also co-host, which is a better name
Wait,
for a
it's
platform.
Mastodon.
Mastodon, yeah.
And also, like I saw that there, the one I'm on is .cloud,
Uh,
but
Mine
there's
is dot game dev or game developers or something
some
like that.
people are at .social,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I can see people from different accounts.
I
Like these
think
are different
so.
servers.
I think the way it works is that you have a home server,
Yeah,
but you're still able to interact with people on other servers.
yeah,
And that's what the part that I'm trying to understand is like, what are the rules for that? Because I feel like the server you're on, it gives the admins a lot of power, and you really have to read the service agreement before you sign up. Like
yeah,
because each of these servers has their own rules, and that's a little bit the scary part about Mastodon is you have to be very 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 careful. You can't just jump in and be like, hey, here's a link, sign up, and then you sign up and then someone steals all your info or whatever it is that they're able to do because you didn't read the fine print. Maybe I'm understanding this all wrong, and that's very, very possible. But I have been trying to read about it and figure it out, and that's what it feels like. But there are enough game dev people moved on to it that at some point I'm going to dedicate like a good 2 3 hours, read up on it, and go on just in case Twitter, like we said, it's like the Titanic sinking.
yeah,
But at some point, it might just go gloop bloop,
yeah.
and it goes under. Like firing half the staff and not knowing, like, making like wild claims every little moment that could result in just like the servers not working at some point, right?
Yeah,
And
it's exactly that. Or like like every other day there's a new thing. He was
yeah,
saying now he's thinking about making it, behind the paywall. You have to pay to use it.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
E-
it's things could go belly up very quickly,
very
all
quickly.
of a sudden. And there's a part of me that that is saying, wouldn't it be great if I don't have to look at Twitter anymore?
Yes. It's both freeing and liberating. So my
Yeah,
favorite feature that Twitter has added is Twitter circles.
yeah,
I It's just small group of people. I could tweet what I like. It's when I started Twitter and fell in love with it at the beginning.
mm,
Like it feels like that again, and a part of me is just like I don't need something to completely replace it. I just need something to do that. Just a Twitter circle like. So if Mastodon takes a little bit of an investment and becomes that, I'm happy. And if co-host is that, like the co-host looks similar, but a little bit bare bones, maybe that's enough. And
yeah,
honestly, if I don't have any of those and I'm on a Discord server with my friends, that's enough. I'm good.
yeah,
I'm worried about everyone else who relies on it for so many different things. Like all of my friends who are artists who get most of their contracts from Twitter,
yeah.
um, all the community managers who rely on it for visibility, like all of these people who it's part of their livelihood. I'm worried about them. For me, it's a distraction. I've never made a penny off Twitter, and I have
Yeah.
not paid them either. So that's a hilarious thing. Like I
Now's your
totally
chance. You got like $8, and you get the blue check mark.
Habibi Fozi. I'm like the requirements for the blue check mark. I met them a long time ago. I could have gotten it when it was free if I
Yeah,
wanted it. I looked up what it does, and it's like you have a lot more visibility on the algorithm. I'm like, no, thank you.
yeah.
I
Who
don't
wants
want
that?
that. Exactly. I don't want that. No, thank you. I'll pass. I would have been more likely to pay not to have the check mark. So
Yeah, I know. It's wild.
yeah,
But
it's
yeah, but what you gotta do, like we watch the world unfold around us, and then we adjust accordingly.
exactly. We do what we can with what we have, right?
I am seeing on on your Twitter feed that you're quite enjoying your new job, which is great.
I am absolutely loving it.
Oh yeah.
I like. Let's be real here. I'm gonna, pull back the curtain a little bit. I was very nervous going in because after my burnout last year, the part of
Mm,
my brain that like wants to do design for a long time didn't work. Like it just didn't work well. I had a hard time struggling with anything to do with creative work or like problem solving at that level. I was still able to people, which is confusing. Like I'm still able to like meet people and talk to them and socialize and all that stuff worked. But the other side of the job, the actual problem solving and design documenting and the implementing all this stuff, I struggled. It was really really difficult. And I
Mm,
felt like through my last job at Unity that I was feeling better and getting back to who I was. But I was still like understandably nervous. I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna just go back to how it was, like I'm just gonna fatigue myself right away. But at my new job, of course I can't discuss the details of the actual work, but everyone has been so kind and supportive and understanding, and I've just been able to come in and they're like, okay, is this okay? Yes. Okay, this looks great. Like good positive feedback. I'm loving the people I'm working with. I'm loving the project that I'm on. Like everything is just working out, and I'm very aware that this is the honeymoon period.
mm.
But like I've been through a lot of different honeymoon periods. I can, you get a feel for it after a while, and I think this is going to be something that's good for me for a good while. So I'm very happy about that.
That's amazing to hear, man. That's
Thank you,
super
Habib.
cool.
Yeah, I feel
And
like I'm home. You know what I mean?
I know it like that they have a very strong design culture over there, and like
Oh,
as a designer, that's exactly what you want.
oh, they are like the people I'm working with are just brilliant. And the one thing I'll say is I've never seen a team of designers this motivated to just talk about the design and making it as good as it could be without like ego or politics getting in the way. Do you know what I mean?
No, I
Like
know exactly what you mean.
yeah, like just the Slack conversations, the back and forth is like, have you considered this edge case or have you
Yeah,
considered this thing? And everyone's like, oh, I thank you for bringing that up. Actually, I did or I didn't. And hey, I've adjusted according to your feedback this way. And everyone is just like, thank you, smiles, jokes in between. No one trying like having the feeling that they need to be defensive about their designs. No one like. I am just shocked by it. If this is what Blizzard design culture has always been like, no wonder they're like I'm a huge fan of their games. Like that's how you get the best out of your people, right? You
that's
make them feel
amazing,
safe.
man.
Yeah.
Like it's one of the things that usually implement when I work with design teams is that I implement peer review as part of the approval process for the feature.
So smart. That's so smart.
So like if you want to get something in the game, then you have to get it peer reviewed. And once you get the thumbs up, then now we can discuss putting it, in front of the directors or getting it for approval through your producers or something like that. So
That's
like if
genius,
a
and I've
level
never seen
designer
that
is
before.
going to attempt to put a level in first,
Yeah.
then they like show it to all the level designers and they have a couple of discussions around them, implement like a couple of rounds of feedback, and then they present it to the level design director, and then boom, it's in the game. So peer review, like once it becomes something you need as part of the process, then
Mhm.
it's there's no ego. You want that feedback. You
Right.
go around and you ask people like, can you please give me the feedback?
Yeah,
Kind of
Fozy,
thing.
that's brilliant. And I mean, we had a parallel with code reviews. Everywhere I've worked, they've had code reviews where coders have to show their work to another coder and get feedback on it. Why did I never consider that's genius. Fozy, I'm stealing this. I'm sorry. I'm stealing. I'm paying your
Yeah,
royalty, $8 a month. The places I've worked mostly, that was not part of the culture. The culture was it was more like academic, right?
yeah.
Like it's you present the thing and then the directors tear it apart. You have to defend it as best you can, and that's a little like it works, I guess. It's not my preference, but it works, I guess. But it creates for a very um, antagonistic relationship almost, right? I'm using
Yeah.
a harsh word, but really that's the situation where everyone feels like they are trying to get their way or tear down the other thing instead of collaboration to try to find the best idea or the best implementation of a thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, makes perfect sense. The thing is, like when we're making games, there is like part of the ideation process is there's something that is very deep that's coming from within us that is represented in that idea. So a lot of the times, without us realizing it, our ideas are in fact very personal because they are representations of our thoughts, our passions, the things that we enjoy, the things that inspire us, or what we believe is right.
Hmm.
So therefore, whenever somebody challenges that, uh, it's almost instinct to either feel defensive or want to change, or to challenge that back, because it's almost like somebody is saying that you are wrong by saying that that idea is wrong.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it kind of it requires a lot of self reflection to
Hmm.
identify that, hey, when I put an idea forward and people don't understand it or don't even like it, it's fine. It's the idea is separate from me, you know.
Hmm.
And
Absolutely.
like making sure that you can always think that way is super important.
It is really important, and actually, especially when we have big teams, everyone has to realize that our parts are small, and somebody else always, and many layers of this, not just one, has a holistic view. Your idea might be great, your feature might be great, but like it's great in isolation. It's great as like when it's siloed. How does it feel when put together with other things as well? So that's why having this open forum of thoughts and ideas. It's not just about does your idea have merit. It's just how does it fit in with the global picture of what the game is. Yeah, like that is part of it, and it's like this. I can like rant and vent about this forever, but all to say is
Yeah.
I'm living it now and I'm loving it. And I'm going to steal your peer review idea. The first chance I have to implement something like this, it's mine, Fauzi. I'm sorry.
It's totally
Like
fine
I was,
if
as
it.
I was saying before, I'm going to pay you royalties, $8 a month. We're
You
yeah.
can pay me $8 lifetime if you just wear a blue mark on your forehead that says that's Fauzi's idea.
It's gonna be my first tattoo, I guess. Fuzzy blue.
Fauzi blue. Oh my god, the business model ideas I'm coming up with.
It's like you're so good at this. You should like buy Twitter.
Yeah, I should buy. If only I had $40 billion.
Well, just stick around. It's not going to be worth that much very, very soon.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Soon we'll both be
But
able to chip in and buy Twitter. It shouldn't take that long. Oh my god, we laugh, but really we cry. A
yeah,
little bit of
it's
both.
uh, it's so sad. It's kind of funny,
You have to. You
but
have to.
it's not. Yeah,
It's
you have to love to kind of console yourself.
exactly like honestly, like there were so many good connections that I made over Twitter.
Yeah,
Like there was a lot of bad too, but there was a lot of good as well. And losing that is going to be a loss. And I mean, everyone's talking about it as if it's already done. No, it's a slow sinking ship, but everyone can see the
yeah,
future right now. It
yeah.
doesn't.
It's on fire, but like there's hope of being put off. But
Yeah,
who knows?
who knows? We'll see what happens.
Well, speaking of fires and
Yes,
putting things up on fires to scare away rats.
I love this. Yes, this is the segue. I love it.
To see like how long that segue is, and if you haven't played the game, what is this guy even talking about?
So, what is the game, Yafosi? What have you played?
I've been playing a game called A Plague's Tale Requiem.
I have played that game as well, or at least I'm like halfway through that game. So,
I
what did
think
you
I'm
think of it?
almost done with the game. I played the original, which was A Plague's Tale
Innocence, I think.
Innocence,
Yeah,
I think it's called.
that's
Um,
what it's called
I
now.
All right. So both of these games, they are third-person action adventure game, which you are playing with the protagonist. Her name is Amicia, and her brother is infected with a mysterious plague
Hmm.
um, that is, for some reason, causes him to summon so many rats around him. And yeah, so it causes all kinds of, like, not just summons rats around him, it causes all kinds of uh, bad, bad things to happen around them, let's just say. I don't want
Yes.
to I don't
Yeah.
want to have
No
a lot of
spoilers.
spoilers.
Exactly.
And amongst those bad things is just like tidal waves of rats
Yeah.
that just kill everyone and everything, and even like there's so many of them in tidal waves that they even destroy buildings and structures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have to navigate this very treacherous environment
Yeah.
as you're making your way through medieval Europe, starting from France in this game, going elsewhere.
Mhm.
I'm not going to say where,
Mhm.
and dealing with all kinds of characters, bad soldiers, and lots of rats armed with your trusty sling. It's a sling, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a
Exactly.
slingshot. It's just a sling.
It's a sling
Like
because you
David.
could attach other things to it too. Like,
Exactly, it's like David and the Goliath kind of sling.
exactly.
Um, the key element here, similar to the previous game, is that the rats are afraid of fire
Hmm.
for some reason. So if you're holding a torch, they will get away from you. If you light up a brazen,
Hmm.
they will stay away. If you light up a pool of tar,
Hmm.
you'll make the rats go away, basically.
Yeah.
Or you can turn off the fire and the torch that a guard is carrying, and then the rats will consume them alive.
Hmm.
So you can you use the light and darkness in puzzle solving to not be eaten by rats or cause others to be eaten by rats.
Hmm. So, what do you think of it?
Hmm. It's a I think it's a competent game
Yeah.
is like the way I would say it.
Yeah.
It's good. Like I don't think that it's an exceptional game or a great game in
Hmm.
any way.
Hmm.
I don't think it's a bad game either.
Hmm.
I think it's just good entertainment.
Yeah. I would say,
Uh,
like, to me, it's above average. It's not like you
yeah.
said. It doesn't do any one thing in an amazing way. I have a few, things, points of improvements that I would
Hmm.
suggest.
Yeah.
Specifically, first of all, I think the game is actually gorgeous. It's really good looking.
Yeah, like their movement to Unreal Engine, to the latest Unreal Engine has been really good. I think,
It really has. Yeah.
it's a significant uplift in graphic fidelity.
Absolutely. I was very impressed by that. There were a few things that I felt were very old school about it in a game that looks very new school, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
There were moments where, especially early in the game, where there was just invisible walls where it's like, no, you can't go there, and you walk up against an invisible wall, and I'm like,
yeah. It's been
yeah,
a while since you've seen one of these, huh?
exactly right. We could do better than this. You could fix this in level design. There were some puzzle elements that were introduced and then not you don't they don't come up again for a long while, and I feel that's not the best way to introduce, like, solutions to puzzles, because the players will forget about it. There's a better way to, like, slowly introduce it to a player than give them a way that they can only pass if they have it, and then they reintroduce it a short while later, and then remind the player, like, there are ways that you could keep things fresh in the player's mind, that they didn't really employ. And the last thing I'll say is some of the puzzles felt telegraphed. Like, I walk into a room and I'm like, well, there are these three interactive things. So I guess I
Yeah,
will, even if I'm not paying attention to what the goal is, and oftentimes you don't see the goal.
yeah.
You're just like, I walk into this room. Which one do I think is the most likely? I'll try this one. No, I'll try this one. Okay, yeah, I got it. Like,
A lot of times, like the game doesn't give you the opportunity to just even do the guess game. Like your
exactly.
support character will be like, "Oh, Amicia, how about you like twist that knob and then twist that engine and then push the cart over there? Oh yes, once you do that, lift me up. Yes, good. Yes, now I can do this. Yes, well done. You've solved the puzzle."
You're
And
not
I'm
even
like,
exaggerating. You walk into a room and
"Yeah,
they're like, "We can't reach that, but with that cart we can." Like, literally, that
yeah,
is the first
yeah,
thing they tell
exactly."
you, and they're like, "But
And I'm like,
why?"
"Shut up. Give me a second."
Like, can you delay that like 3 minutes? Just like 3 minutes. Give me a chance to look
Yeah.
around and see where I want to
Uncharted
go.
does that really well, in which
Yes.
like they let you stare at the puzzle for a while, and then as if they know that you're starting to get frustrated,
Yes.
your support card to be like, "Here, there's a rope.
Yeah.
Climb that,
Yeah.
you idiot."
It's even
And
slower.
it's
It's
like,
like, I wish there was a rope, is the first thing that I'll say. And then it's like,
yeah,
that looks like a rope. And then later it's like, we can use that rope to get across. But it's like done so slowly that it gives you the help that you need. and I
exactly.
think it's a brilliant mechanic, as you said.
And the way the narrative is done around it is also makes it a lot more contextual. In which, like,
Yes,
when you take a bit more time to figure it out, and the characters need to give you a hint in Uncharted, they will laugh it off later. It's like, oh wow, that took you too long, or something like that.
exactly,
So like it even gives the characters a lot more humor, or like it makes them a lot more believable in the situation that they were in. Whereas in
exactly.
this game, you're usually being like instructed by your much younger brother, uh, or like like this kid, and like immediately looks at the situation and tells you everything, and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
why isn't he just saving the day?
Right? That said, the puzzles themselves, other than their introductions, oftentimes were clever. They had like good
Yeah,
solutions. I liked the mechanics involved in executing them, like throwing the fire here and then making that thing swing over there and fall there, and now I have access, that kind of thing. It would
yeah,
have done like my preference, and I'm not saying this is the only way to do this. My preference would be to make it a little bit more sandboxy and more procedural, and have different solutions for the same thing, because all of it was, this is the one solution, do it. And I that brand of puzzle is a little less appealing to me than get fire here, figure it out.
yeah,
That
yeah,
I prefer that. I feel more clever if that's what it is, and then I have a whole bunch of solutions available to me. So there's a
yeah,
few things that feel old school in a game that caught up graphically. So
yeah,
I feel is at odds. Otherwise, like you said, absolutely enjoyable experience. I mean, what there is of combat, because combat is not the focus, but what there is there for it, I feel is adequate. Um,
no, the encounters are fine, they're fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
The
adequate.
stealth is okay, like the level design is okay, is interesting. It leads you where you need to go. Like all of that, like I said, is competent. It's
Yeah,
not like best in class. It's
yeah,
not master class of design,
yeah.
but it's good. Like it's not bad at all.
It's not bad.
I think like my gripes, other than the know-it-all kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, listen,
Yes,
you know,
and the voice of the kid, the little one, not the little voice of the kid's a
yeah,
little not great.
the VO generally didn't do it for me at all.
Yeah, yeah,
But for me, like, there's a lot of narrative design issues that I don't like a lot.
mhm,
First of all, there's a lot of like expositional conversation in which,
yes,
like, to move the plot along, the kid has been like, "We should do this and that." Yes.
yeah,
How about we go this and there? Yes. And like you can also hear it in which like the dialogue is almost always a yes or
yeah,
no kind of dialogue.
yeah,
Like you can count the number of times the other character says yes to the previous statements,
yeah,
as if the person who wrote both lines was the same person,
yeah,
and that kind of like always takes me out of it. It feels like somebody is telling me what I'm supposed to do rather than the characters coming to life within the world.
yeah,
And nothing breaks it more than a Deus ex machina, which
yeah,
is how they're usually introducing new mechanics, and it's kind of like always like makes you pause and question as a player.
yeah,
Misia gets into a peril of some sort, and the situation seems helpless. Then suddenly, your younger brother again
yeah,
brings out a gadget out of nowhere
yeah,
and goes like, "Oh, use this to save you." And was like, "What is this?" I'm like,
yeah. Why did you
"Yeah,
just give it to me now?
I picked it up along the way. I always thought it was useful, and I've never spoke to anyone about this before. But since you're about to be eaten alive by rats, I thought it might be a good time to give you this. And if it happens once, I'll be like, okay, this happened once. Is this your one Deus Ex Machina this
Yes,
game? But it
yes,
happened at like four times before a half point
yeah,
of the game.
yeah,
So it's a design pattern in which, like, how do we introduce this mechanic, put her in trouble, and let the kid give her the new gadget? And I think there could be more contextual ways from a narrative design point of view to make that situation a lot more believable.
I couldn't agree more. I actually, yeah, notice similar things where a lot of the times you're put in a situation early on, because eventually you start to figure out what's happening. But you're put in a situation,
Yeah,
and then afterwards, the characters tell you why you're in that situation. instead of like
Hmm.
foreshadowing it. Like, oh, we made it to the city and this happened just off screen, like while the camera was fading in. Um, it makes the world feel like it's not as alive. There's less world building. So I totally agree with that comment. Um,
I think, yeah, it's like I said, like none of this stuff is offensive in
no,
its own right. Like, that's all, okay things that work. You do get the gadget, you do understand how it works, and it helps you solve the puzzle. And I think the tutorialization of all of these elements are actually pretty strong. So, like, once you learn it once, you get to understand how these things work from
mhm.
now on. But yeah, maybe it's more of a game maker point of view. Like, I can't help but see this, but I think that the pattern of how these things go and the way the characters converse um, leaves some to be desired.
Yeah. I it's still like I'm not going to say it's a hard game to recommend because that's a very harsh thing to
Yeah,
say. That's not what I would say. But it's
it's
like,
free on Game Pass,
yeah,
so
it's an enjoyable experience.
Game Pass plug of the week.
We already had one. This is the second plug of the week.
A second plug of the week.
um, Speaking of, no, this game is not on Game Pass. Failed segue.
Uh,
I,
Not even that. You pulled the plug on this one as
yeah.
well. You're like, oh, Game Pass doesn't have this game. Wow,
Oh, shame, for shame. Um,
for
I
shame.
played another little game, and it's called A Little to the Left. I wanted to take a moment to speak about this game. I think
Yeah, please.
this game is going to be released today.
Okay.
I've had access to it for the last week as part of like I did do jurying for different events. I had permission. I asked them permission if I could talk about the game both on Twitter and on the podcast, and they
Hmm.
said yes. So they're releasing today. A Little to the Left is this extremely cozy, slow paced puzzle game where it has a whole bunch of intentional puzzles where you're just intending to put things in order. Like it's, I know I hate when people say this because OCD is an actual disorder and it actually is extremely like difficult to deal with. But you know how
Yeah.
people say like I have a little OCD in me, right? This game is
Yeah.
like that manifested. It's like they give you
Yeah.
pencils and you have to put them in order, or they give you books on a bookshelf, or they just like scatter a whole bunch of things and you have to organize them. And the thing is, there's no timer, there's no pushback mechanic, and there's no instructions as to how. So you're just looking at the patterns and be like, how would I do this? And many of the things have multiple solutions, right? So if
Hmm.
you're the person who's just like, I'm going to put the books in order of shortest to highest, that'll work and you'll get 1 star. If you want to put them by, I'm going to, like put them in order based on their color, then that'll work and you'll get another star. And you don't have to play that puzzle again. It'll move on to the next one. If you want to come back and try a different way, you can do that.
Oh, interesting. So there's multiple solutions to the same puzzle.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes there's just one, and you just have to figure out which one it is because there's something that breaks that pattern. There's a missing color, a missing whatever. So you have to look. Oh, it's not the color; it's this other thing, right?
Ooh,
Um,
this is like unpacking,
yes, yes. That's
which
actually
is like a very chill like game, and also will have me play it a million times.
Yes, that's exactly the game I was going to bring up as it gives you a similar feeling than unpacking. It
Yeah.
also has kind of an overarching narrative on top of it, but it's not as deep or profound or as I don't want to say good, but like it's very different than unpacking. So don't expect an unpacking too. That's not what it is. But that
Yeah.
feeling of I'm putting things in order that you get from unpacking, you get it here in a more bite-sized way. So it's actually to me more relaxing than unpacking. Well, unpacking was
It's
like,
like
yeah,
it feels like from just looking at the screenshot, it's like WarioWare meets unpacking,
yes, that's a very
in which
good.
you have like small areas of you ordering stuff.
Yes, 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 and that's what I like. I would say I would compare it to unpacking if you only did one room at a time and no object existed in other rooms. Because that actually, even though unpacking was a relaxing experience overall, I had these dips whenever I was like, oh, this goes in the other room and I have to switch to the other room. I don't know why. I just that annoyed me. I'm like, just like give me everything in the same room. I love the game still. It was still one of our games of the year last year, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely phenomenal. But like this, I find like less on the narrative side because Unpacking had a great story that it unpacked as well. But a little to the left has less of the narrative and more of that cozy uh, feeling of putting things in order and satisfaction. You know, that sense of fulfillment you have when you see a thing in order. It has a lot more of that. So
Ooh,
actually, I love it. I was when you're reviewing games for these jury things, you're only supposed like you only have to play it enough to see a loop.
yeah,
So and then games like this, you could see the loop after two or three puzzles. Like really, honestly, 5 to 10 minutes is usually enough,
yeah,
and then you understand the loop. And I played it for 5 hours. I didn't
yeah.
over the last week. It was one of the games I played the most because it was that good. Every day after work, I would play it for 30 to 45 minutes to unwind, and then start my day, my night
What did
afterwards.
you play it on?
So I played it on two things actually. I played it on my PC, but I also played it on my Steam Deck. So initially, when I was reviewing it,
Ah,
I played it on PC, and then I carried it over to my Steam Deck to play on my couch because that's even cozier and it plays extremely well on the Steam Deck.
nice. And it's coming out today, huh?
I believe it's today, or yeah, like by the time this is released, it should have been 2 or 3 days ago anyway.
Ah, nice. It's one of maybe it's. I will play this while I'm downloading God of War.
Yeah. Speaking of which, yeah, God of War comes out today or tomorrow, right? It's like
Yeah,
tonight at midnight or something.
it unlocks for me in a bit, I think. So yeah, I'm just gonna. I got the code, so I'm gonna download it
Yeah,
and check it out.
I am gonna purchase it and download it. Right, I was gonna say right after this call. I have a meeting after this call.
Yeah, I have a meeting in the evening
In the evening,
probably.
yeah. But I will definitely be playing that tomorrow. I am super excited. The reviews look incredible, incredible, and they did for the first one as well. And I had a really good time for the first one. With the first one, I'm really curious to see what, uh, like, how the story develops.
Yeah, man. Yeah, same. I love the first one, so it'll be good for me to play the second one and see what's going on because this should be the conclusion of the Nordic part of his journey, I guess.
Yep, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see if that actually pans out. I've been avoiding the reviews, so I don't know anything
Yeah,
actually.
exactly the
uh,
same. And there were spoilers, so I actually set up my Twitter so I could not see any of the spoilers. And thankfully, I haven't yet. And tomorrow's the
yeah,
big day, so there's still 24 hours or so where I could be spoiled, but I'm really hoping not to. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Hopefully, it goes on that way. Do you have some more time, or are we done for today?
I think we could just like wrap it up in a couple of minutes.
Okay,
I wanted to
I
talk a
can.
little. Oh no, go you first. What did you play? Anything?
No, no. Do your thing, man.
Really quickly, I know that Rami spoke about Modern Warfare 2 last week, the single player,
Yeah,
and I
he spoke about the single player.
yes, I played the multiplayer, and the things I'll say about the multiplayer is that one, it looks extremely realistic if you like squint. It looks really, really real, and I have very mixed feelings about that. Like, um, I don't like. I think I prefer my murder simulations to be more removed from reality these days, but that's
Fair.
a very personal opinion. So that part was not great, but this is the game that my siblings love to play, and so I will be playing it because I want to spend time with my siblings online. So my actually three brothers and one sister, we play Modern Warfare 2 together. That part is amazing. They picked good maps. I think the game feels really well. I'm playing it on PC this time, and the last couple of ones I played on console, and it's seamless. I jumped right back in. It felt like every other Call of Duty game. So if you want more Call of Duty multiplayer experience, I recommend it. If that was never your thing, this is not going to convince you, in my opinion, to make it your thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
But you usually play those games, right? Like you enjoy the multiplayer a bit.
Yes, I really love the multiplayer of Call of Duty, like the feel of it, right? The
Yeah,
narrative, the world, the like all the other things that are attached to it, much less so, but like specifically the feel of it.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's on my to checklist this year, but yeah, the the list is too large, and we don't have that many
Yeah,
days left till the end of the year.
I know. I have a list of games. I haven't played Sifu yet. It's on my list of must review for our end of year list, and I don't know if I'm going to make
Yeah,
it because God of War comes out next week. Sorry,
yeah,
this week. I mean,
yeah. So, between now till Sunday, I think I could probably finish God of War. I'm gonna cancel most of my plans this week and just play
makes
it.
sense. Any parting thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, it's all good. We'll talk about some of the stuff I wanted to say next week.
Okay, I'm really sorry to cut this one short, but I'm super happy we got the time to catch up and talk.
Same here, man.
Yeah.
Same here.
So yeah, like what's the outro again? Something about sending us emails and Discord. Yeah.
You're gonna improvise it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. Info at thehabibis.com. We love getting your emails. We read them online. Come to our Discord. We have wonderful, fun people who talk about other things other than anime. I promise it's not an anime. It's not an anime Discord. Uh,
It's now a Marvel Snap Discord.
and that's it. Thank you and salam.
Salam.
That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I'm Osama Dorias, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at Osama Dorias. My fellow Habibis were Rami Ismail, you can find on Twitter at THA_Rami, and Fauzi Mesmar, who you can find on Twitter at Fauzi Mesmar. Send us your questions, stories, suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. Intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubayla, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcasting service, or check out thehabibis.com for more information. Thank you for listening, and Assalamu alaikum.